flavor and fire of the Latin community, the pulse of South Florida.
We all come from different backgrounds, Miami. This is what pretty much brings richness to the whole culture.
And the new generation, creating their own rhythm without straying from their roots.
And although I wasn't born in Cuba, I feel more Cuban than I feel American.
Young Hispanics, the next force, carry Miami's identity.
We support each other as Latinos. It doesn't matter where you're from.
Tonight, we celebrate their influence, their unity, and their Latin pride.
Fumando. Hello, hola, thank you for watching NBC6's Latin Beat Special. I'm Shelly Muñiz.
And I'm Roxanne Vargas. Muchas gracias por estar con nosotros. In honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, we are highlighting the contributions Latinos are making here in South Florida.
Yeah, Hispanic Millennials specifically are making a great impact in our community, and they have carved a new identity, changing what it means to be Latino in the United States.
NBC6's Laura Rodriguez explores how this new generation has stirred up a subculture through food and music that makes South Florida so unique.
We try and get the rhythms from the past to come to the future.
For more than a decade, Afro-Cuban funk band Palo has been fusing percussion, vocals, and the saxophone to create an infectious Miami sound.
I think for a while, Miami has been a hotbed for what I call Latin fusion music. The center of Palo is Leslie Cartaya. Her vocal is enough to engage you, even if you didn't have the song and you didn't have the production.
Sometimes it's easier with younger people because they can kind of understand it and they feel it that way too, because the city that you live in today is not the city that was 10 years ago.
Hemos hecho una fusión tan rica que yo digo que es la fusión del pasado, el presente y el futuro.
A new generation of Latinos are also changing the landscape of the restaurant industry. The Andrade family is just one example. I'm at La Ventanita, or The Window, here at the Cuban restaurant Islas Canarias restaurant. It was founded in 1977 by Nancy and Luis Andrade. Their daughter, Eileen Andrade, took the Cuban restaurant concept and she put a spin on it. She opened Amelia's 1931 in the very same shopping center as her parents in West Kendall. Amelia's 1931, what does it stand for?
It's named after my grandmother and the year she was born. I kind of wanted to pay homage to her. And so one of the first restaurants my family opened up in Miami was called El Teide, and she worked the counter. So you will see mainly counter seating at Amelia's. The vibe is very abuelita. You feel like at your grandmother's house. So yeah, it's named after her.
But it's also a fusion.
I love Asian food, and I love Cuban food, and I love Peruvian food. So I kind of wanted to fuse all three together, which I do as well at Finca Table and Tap. And I love kind of mixing spicy with sweet and counterbalancing flavors and cuisines. We are making our Korean frita.
Why do you think our generation enjoys this fusion type food?
I think Miami's a melting pot, and we've been surrounded by so many different cultures and so many different cuisines that we are almost selfish and we don't want to just try one thing, and we kind of want to put a bunch of different flavors together, and it creates a fun experience. It's something different.
From cafecito to leche de tigre, cheers. Latin food is delicious. I love Peruvian food too. Talk to me about leche de tigre. What is leche de tigre?
Well, leche de tigre is actually the juice from the ceviche, which is good for opening the appetite, or it's good for the hangover after a party night, you know. It's have a lot of flavors, chilies, lime juice.
Chef Carlos Brescia was born and raised in Chiclayo, Peru. He moved to Miami in 2000, and a little over 10 years later, he opened Doctor Limon in Kendall. Why Doctor Limon? Why the name Doctor Limon?
Because the people after the party night, the hangover, they used to call me doctor, cure my hangover. I cure it with lime.
Talk to me a little bit about Peruvian cuisine and what you're doing here at Dr. Limon that might be different.
We make a lot of fusion. I try to do fusion between Peruvian and Japanese, Chinese, Italian, Spain, you know.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
Los ingredientes, mucha cebolla, muchos tomates.
Un poquito de cilantro, tiene salsa de soya, un poquito de pisco.
Un poquito de pisco. Ese es el ingrediente secreto, pero ya no tan secreto. I got the scoop on a secret ingredient and walked out of both Dr. Limon and Amelia's with a smile and a full stomach. After all, the saying is pretty accurate. Barriga llena, corazón contento.
Laura Rodriguez reporting and making us all hungry. Yeah, it is no surprise, by the way, that Hispanics are the largest minority group in the United States. Now, this translates to a major voting bloc and a strong economy, and Latino millennials play a significant role in their own way. Here's NBC6 anchor Jackie Nesbral to explain.
Florida is home to the third largest Hispanic population in the U.S. As a result, Hispanics are key to the growth of the state, and especially South Florida. Hispanic businesses represent a significant portion of the businesses in the state of Florida, but it's even more concentrated here in South Florida. That segment of the population is key to the local economy. The employment numbers here in Miami-Dade very strong. They continue to be strong, and it's a growing population, and it's all led by many of the outstanding companies. We've got a very strong technology base here. We have food and beverage, especially for some of the millennials. Speaking of millennials, the amount of Hispanic-owned businesses continues to grow. But does this new generation follow the roadmap to success of their predecessors? The millennials really have an expectation that not only will they be able to do and be successful in business, but they also want to enjoy all that Florida and Miami has to offer. And does that expectation of success translate into the voting booth? We all know the midterms will be key in Miami, and the Cuban Americans in South Florida carry a lot of voting power.
There's few groups across U.S. history that have had that kind of an impact, both at the local level, nationally, and even internationally. Generations do matter. One of the most important trends that we've seen that, and especially among Hispanics, is that Hispanics register as non-party affiliates. In Miami-Dade County, there are 41% registered Democrats, 26% Republicans, and 31% of voters are non-party affiliated. Gamarra says of the NPAs, the majority are Hispanic, and that when you hold for the age, it's also the young. Jackie Nesbral, NBC6 News.
Next on NBC6's Latin Beat special, progress in the most conservative Hispanic community in South Florida. How LGBTQ advocates are making history in Hialeah.
Bueno, no se te ve por la flacucha que está.
I have a cosmetabolism.
They are hilarious and help us relive our childhood, from chongas to abuelitas, pero like these influencers are taking social media by storm.
The moment we find out you speak Spanish too, dale, we got you.
And later, an open conversation on the Latino experience here in South Florida. A first-of-its-kind celebration will make its way to the heart of Hialeah. It is a huge deal for the city's LGBTQ+ community, which has felt shunned for years. I spoke with organizers of the upcoming Pride Party about how they were able to break barriers. Empowerment, progress, unity. Baby, I was born this way. It's part of the point of a Pride Party. A celebration of how far the LGBTQ+ community has come. And this says a lot. Hialeah Pride, coming to the City of Progress for the first time ever.
Why Hialeah? Well, Hialeah is the fourth strongest conservative city in the U.S. It's number 4, right behind 3 in Texas. So when Jen came to me and told me about the idea about Hialeah Pride, that was her dream, I started, thinking about it and saying, you know what, it is the fourth strongest conservative city in the U.S. That means we're going to make headway. That means we're going into the trenches. We're going to go ahead and, like she said, leave a legacy, open doors. And it was important.
Especially important to international DJ Citizen Jane, who's so Hialeah.
I'm a Hialeah girl. This is my hood, like I would say, and my parents still live here, and I always come here and still hang out here, and this park means a lot to me. I did my 15th pictures here.
And bringing another event here, making history in raising the pride flag in a historic place, Hialeah Park.
When I first came out here in Hialeah years ago, I felt like I didn't have anywhere to go, or I was gonna, I would get looked at differently because, it was very close-minded, at the time and everything. And I had to move to Miami Beach. I first moved to Coral Gables and Miami Beach, then Sunny Isles. So I've been like moving, away from Hialeah because of that. But I've been coming back and I've been seeing a difference.
There is a difference. Karen and Citizen Jane were met with support instead of resistance from this mostly Hispanic Latino community that is Hialeah.
When you said Hialeah, 99% we've gotten Hialeah, hey, finally.
That's been the reaction.
And maybe that 1% goes Hialeah, and then they go, oh yeah, Hialeah.
And how's this for breaking barriers? Latinx. You've heard that term a lot lately, right? Scratching your head as to what exactly it means? Well, look it up in the Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Yeah, added in September 2018. Defined as of, relating to, or marked by Latin American heritage, used as a gender-neutral alternative to Latino or Latina.
It means a lot. When words make the jump from the mouths of people into anything standardized like a dictionary or a grammar book or broadcast news, then you know that it's gaining acceptance.
It is a linguistic innovation, a molding of the English language led by groups of Latin people who didn't feel like they fit until now.
What do you think about the term Latinx and why it is important to the community?
I think it's important because that's how certain people, associate themselves, and it's like saying it's respect for all. It's we're all one human family, and everybody should feel the way they feel and be free.
It's a great opportunity for older generations to also take a listen and kind of really accept and respect the younger generations that are kind of standing up to the plate and saying, hey guys, this is something that we all need to listen to and kind of, just be there for.
That's why the only label at Hialeah Pride is one. Regardless of the letter or color of the flag you identify with, this inaugural celebration of unity and inclusion among all people in Hialeah, it's for everyone in our vibrant community.
That's right, and do not miss it. It's actually this Sunday.
Wait, you're La Madrina, though.
See, so excited and honored. It'll be great. You'll see
You'll be there, yeah. All right, well, you can say Karen is a millennial activist, and they are taking the reins. Millennial activists are hitting the streets like never before to advocate really not only for themselves, but for something else that impacts a lot of Latinos, immigration policies.
Yeah, from DACA to TPS to family separations, Latinos are facing a host of ever-changing issues across our borders. NBC6's Amanda Plasencia shares the story of one young activist who has seen it all firsthand.
We need to do something drastically.
Deportation, not deportation!
And we need to stand up.
Julio Calderon is fired up. He can't hide his passion to be a voice for Latino immigrants as he's been in their shoes himself.
We had to cross the border as an unaccompanied minor.
At the age of 16, Calderon says he made the tough decision to leave the horrors going on in his homeland of Honduras. His mother was already living in the U.S. but could not petition for her kids to come, so Calderon and his siblings spent 30 days by themselves crossing the Mexican border into the United States.
A couple of instances where we had to walk a lot, where we had nothing to eat but just a little bit of tortilla, corn tortilla and cheese.
Since his arrival as an unaccompanied youth, Calderon has hit the ground running with his activism for immigration reform. He's been working with the Florida Immigrant Coalition, helping others like himself navigate recent changes in policies, as well as the emotional turmoil of the possibility of being sent back to an unstable situation in their native countries.
For me, every change in policy hits home. whether it is TPS because my parents have TPS, whether it's DACA because my younger brother is DACA, whether it is to the undocumented community because I am undocumented. So we have a family of 6 with 4 different status. So and I think that says a lot about the broken system we have in the U.S.
Through his activism, Calderon is fighting these battles to make sure immigrants are protected on the federal and state level.
It is an urgency, and we need to be able to fix this problem for close to more than 1 million undocumented youth who are in the limbo, who can be facing deportation.
Dr. Michael Lenigan, a professor of social sciences at Miami-Dade College, has witnessed the civic engagement of his young students who have recently arrived in the U.S.
In America, anybody can make a difference. You just have to figure out how to get organized. And these newly arrived millennials got it quickly.
Various conflicts across Latin America sparking South Florida's diverse and young immigrant population.
Young people of varying circumstances, not just rich people displaced by dictators or folks displaced by civil war, but other pressures like local gang difficulties.
I think that if we want to really build the future we want to see as millennials, we need to be in the spaces where we can represent ourselves and change policy the way we want to see it.
Amanda Placencia, NBC6 News.
Coming up, the Hispanic viral stars that always have us laughing out loud.
Aguántate con esa vaina, con esa botellita azul y esa tapita verde, ma.
How their videos transcend cultural boundaries.
You know, being a Latina in Miami, of course, is a privilege. You know, you see the contributions of your culture within the city's dynamic.
An open conversation with young Latinos living and thriving in South Florida. Next.
All right, chances you've heard of these guys, LeJuan James, Jenny Lorenzo, and the Chonga Girls. Their hilarious viral videos reach millions of people every day. And NBC6's Brendan Lopez has an inside look at how they make a living and how their work influences Latinos around the world.
Mommy, chill, don't D on the Vicks, ma.
They're hilarious. They're relatable.
Hey guys, we're the Chonga Girls.
They're going viral. Content creators like LeJuan James, Jenny Lorenzo, and the Chonga Girls are all on the same mission, to entertain.
I want people to relate to my content. I want people to feel nostalgic with my content. I want my content to bring people together.
Not only are these guys hilarious, but their content takes us back to our roots.
By doing what I do, I'm able to give people an outlet to say, hey, oh wow, that's just like my mom, that's just like my father. And what I want to do is for, the cool thing about the internet, it lives forever, right? Well beyond the moment that I live this earth, and then kind of inspire others to do the same and follow their dreams.
Eso es porque no anda sin suéter.
Whether it reminds you of your abuelita, or reminds you of your mommy cleaning the house on a Saturday morning.
If you talking trash, I'll beat you after class.
Or even that girl you were afraid of in math class in the 8th grade. Irregardless, it's content that takes you back and makes you feel good.
We weren't doing it to be famous. We weren't doing it just fun to represent, to do anything like that. We were literally just a product of our community, our imagination.
Now it's not all fun and games for these guys. In fact, it's actually how they make a living, and they're doing quite well at it. And now big brands are trying to team up with them as well.
Brands like Procter & Gamble and NASCAR are reaching out to them to advertise their products.
First of all, it's fun to do NASCAR as chongas because it's something that chongas would never, ever, you would never see a chonga at NASCAR. It's just non-existent.
But what is cool about it is that what we're specifically doing is we're promoting their Latino driver, Daniel Suarez, who is Mexican.
And it's no secret that their content has an impact on Latinos. LeJuan James has more than 3 million fans on Facebook, and his videos can easily be shared hundreds of thousands of times and get several million views. But despite their incredible success, they never forget their roots.
I'm Cuban American, but not everybody who watches my stuff is Cuban American, and they can still relate. So I really do have Miami to thank for.
What inspires our content is our nostalgia, our friendship, our childhood, where we're from, Miami, and we love bringing memories to people.
Que cute. Yeah. Super, super cute. Brandon Lopez, NBC6 News.
Welcome back. Gracias por estar con nosotros. 6 in the Mix host Joanna Gomez. She sat down with a group of local influencers to talk about what it means to be Latino here in South Florida.
Yeah, from a popular chef to a business leader to a breakout singer and activist, here's what they had to say.
My name is Cesar Grajales. I was born and raised in Colombia, in a small town called Armenia. It's the coffee region. And my job, I'm a lobbyist.
My name is Amara La Negra. I am an artist. I sing, I dance, I act, I do a little bit of everything, but I am also an activist for the Afro-Latino community.
My name is Carlos. I was born in Peru, in a little town called Chiclayo. I came here when I was 17 years old, back in 2000. And I'm a founder and corporate chef of Dr. Limon.
I'm Jenny Lee Molina, born and raised in Miami, Florida, but I represent Hialeah all day.
You too, girl.
Yes. I'm the co-founder of the Leah Arts District, which is an area that promotes cultural programming, family-friendly cultural programming in Hialeah.
What does it mean to you guys individually when they say, yo soy Latino, tú eres Latino, I am Latino?
Well, in my case, because I was born and raised in Colombia, my experience is kind of different for the people who actually was born here. So I came here back in 2000, assimilating to the culture, because coming from a really small town, never getting out of Colombia before, of coming here to Miami, it was very impactful for me.
You know, being a Latina in Miami, of course, is a privilege. You know, you see the contributions of your culture within the city's dynamic. But outside of Miami, it's very different. People automatically assume that you're Mexican. They don't realize that there's other types of Latinos. And one thing I love about being from Miami, with access to so many different Latin cultures, is how you learn from, you know, the Colombian culture and the Mexican culture, and, you know, your own culture becomes this own culture, you know, its own subculture.
What does it mean for me specifically to be Latina in the United States, or rather better here in Miami? Mira, it means flavor, it means rhythm, it means curves, it means melanin in my case, it means unity, it means we support each other as Latinos. It doesn't matter where you're from. The moment we find out you speak Spanish too, dale, we got you.
What makes you so proud being Peruvian? That you're like, I'm so proud of being Peruvian, this is what stands out for me?
I think, of course, the food. The food is our main, you know, thing to show to the world. I think I'm proud for the food. I'm proud for our culture also.
But we have to talk about something that's so important that has people buzzing about, and we even have that within our own people. And you've experienced that yourself.
Oh yeah. I always talk about it. That people don't like. People don't like when you criticize their community, but unfortunately, somebody has to say it. And I don't have a problem saying it. Yeah, we have a lot of colorism and racial issues within our own community.
What do you guys individually think that needs to happen in order to change that?
Definitely education. And in the new generation, we have to expose our kids and our, you know, the young generation to the diversity that we have. I think you do a great job speaking Spanish to your kids, because being bilingual is key.
So important. It's so important. I tell my kids all the time. But I think it doesn't only have to do about speaking the language, but having our culture. So, like I always tell them, like, you are Latino. Like, yes, your mother's Latina, your father's American, but you are Latino, no matter what you're representing.
I feel proud of
Latinos,
that.
And feel proud of it.
I try to do my best, definitely. I think the values and the policies that, when I go to Tallahassee, for example, or the Miami-Dade County Commission or Washington, D.C., I always try to fight for the policies that is going to benefit our community. So I always have that in mind, especially that I actually represent, as I mentioned at the beginning, the Libre Initiative, which is a Hispanic organization. So definitely I'm always working for my community.
Whoever doesn't like Latinos being in the U.S., guess what? Deal with it, because we ain't going nowhere. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. We
wish
you the best of luck. Keep representing Latinos.
Definitely.
Amen.
Thank you.
Deal with it.
Awesome. Deal with it. I love what she said. And by the way, there's so much more that they said, and that's why we have posted an extended version of that conversation or in the Latin Beat section on the NBC6 app. And you can watch this whole special, by the way, anytime on the NBC6 YouTube channel. So, Shirley, what does it mean to you to be Latina?
Okay, well, she said flavor, culture, orgullo, but as much as we are so different, though, there's so much diversity within the Latin culture, and so I think that in essence brings us together.
Yeah, we celebrate it in the way we greet each other, the music that we dance, the tradition, the food that we eat, the language that we speak. In my home, my 2 boys speak only español en la casa. It is very important. But it's a celebration, something that we celebrate our Hispanidad every single day, but especially this month.
Clapping when you land at your native country. Everybody claps.
Yes, let us know what makes you feel, by the way. What makes you feel Latino? Let us know on social media at BC6 is our handle.
And happy Hispanic Heritage Month. And don't forget, on 4:30 in the morning for us.
We'll see you on NBC6 today. Muchas gracias por estar con nosotros.
Bye.
Felicidades.